Okay, welcome to another video of mine, ladies and gentlemen. Why Miguel will win the Sekai Taikai in Season 6, Part 2. Well, it's most likely going to be Part 2. The Heart of a Champion. Now, I got to preface this every time just because it's funny. I have garnered the reputation of Robbie fanboy for a long time, but let it not be said, I love me some El Serpiente, okay? Let's give some love to our boy Miggy. Now, the reason Miguel can win this is as follows. The show started with him, okay? And that's the main thing I've seen everyone sort of say in every comment section, every video, every TikTok, everything out there to do with Cobra Kai. It started with Miguel, it should end with Miguel. And there is a valid point there. We did start this journey with Johnny and Miguel all the way back in Season 1, Episode 1, when a kid just wanted to learn how to defend himself from karate. That's all he wanted it for, was, you know, protecting himself and defending against others. For some reason, my lovely camera has decided to... Okay, there you go. Now it's fixed. Now it's fixed. Fine. Great. Of course it fixes now. So I want to just touch upon Miguel's journey across the show. Miguel has had setback after setback after setback. He won the tournament in Season 1. But then ultimately, even though he got the trophy and he became champ, he didn't fight with honor. He thought quite underhanded, and that carried into Sam breaking up with him and his rivalry with Robbie starting to escalate further. And then the divide between him and Hawk started to really surface in Season 2. And then it came full circle, not full circle, full front in Season 3. He was crippled after the school fight for showing mercy. Miguel has been constantly punished for doing the right thing, especially in the school fight. And now, I know people like to argue who won or lost that. Let's just be real. Miguel had Robbie dead to rights. Like, he had Robbie on the floor. The only reason... For some reason, whenever it pertains to fights in Cobra Kai, everyone has the schoolboy mentality that the last person standing is the one who wins. No, Robbie didn't win the school fight. If anything, no one won the school fight. Miguel had him on the floor. Fight should be done, right? No, Robbie allowed his rage and his anger to consume him, and then he sent that boy flying off the balcony. And I will never forget that day. Watching that episode, my heart sunk. I was like, there's no way they would. There's no way they would. And I genuinely didn't know if they were going to cross a line and kill him off, or, you know, because then once you cross that line, you can't uncross it. But my heart still sunk regardless, as did all of our hearts that day. And then watching him in Season 3 pick himself back up from nothing, you know, rising like a phoenix and getting back to his form. And then him fighting Kyler in the house, bringing his journey full circle there to the bully that, you know, he started his journey with, to whooping his ass in 5 seconds, was beautiful to see. And then in Season 4, you know, I felt like that was Miguel's weakest season for me. He was just kind of there, you know, but it was merely to set up his arc going into Season 5, which I think is his strongest season. And, you know, he's had setbacks with his father, with his back, you know, going out in the tournament in Season 4 because of his back kicking in. And I wouldn't want to see that again. Like, I'll be real. Like, I've got to keep the same energy. What I give to Robbie, I've got to give to Miguel. I wouldn't want there to be some contrived thing of where Miguel's back gives way in the Sekai Taikai and then he's out again. We've played that card. Let's not do that again. Now, could Kwon target his injury? Oh, absolutely. Kreese is 100% going to say to Kwon, listen, this boy's been crippled before, go for his back. So that's definitely something that's completely on the table. But I really do feel like Miguel has so much in store for him. Now, I'm not here to debate college. Like, I really don't care about that as a motivation for me. That's something that's kind of boring, one-dimensional, generic. I'm more interested in, why does Miguel Diaz need to win this tournament? And I feel like he needs to win it to prove a point to everyone, and not just himself, that he's not just a one-trick pony. He's not just a one-title person, you know, and him bowing out in Season 4 doesn't automatically mean, and I've said this a lot, but people seem to run with what I say and then completely butcher the meaning of. Just because he's above a trophy now, just because he bowed out in Season 4 to go and find himself and, you know, his history and his lineage and where he came from, it doesn't necessarily mean that that means he doesn't deserve winning the trophy. And I really feel like there's a powerful message in Miguel winning it. We started our journey with him. It only makes sense for the kid that we started this journey with to end up with that trophy in his arms all the way at the end of the show. And it would be a nice little bow on the character. And I think, you know, there's something quite sweet to be said there about a guy that just wanted karate to defend himself against his bullies that becomes a world freaking champion. Like, that right there is freaking dope. That's insane. Like, when you look at it just as a broad brush, explaining that to someone, that a guy defending himself from bullies becoming a world champion, that's incredible. And I've said this a lot. A lot of these characters will be an evolution of what the adults were. Like, the adults, by definition, for power levels, are always going to be of a certain level. But I feel like when it pertains to Miguel or Robbie or Sam or even Tori, they're going to evolve beyond what their masters were. And that's just the nature of any story. That your students are always meant to supersede you, because that's the sign of a good teacher. You want your juniors to succeed. And I really feel like Miguel winning it on the grandest stage of them all, with his newfound, you know, brother in Robbie, his best friends Eli and Dimitri, you know, his girlfriend Sam, and his father, not his sensei, his father Johnny. It's such a powerful moment waiting to happen, you know. And this is what I was trying to say the last few weeks. You know, if everyone would give me 5 seconds to explain why my point of view on why Robbie should win things, there's so many cases you can make for Miguel to win it too. And I feel like, touching upon what he said for college, it's not necessarily about Miguel needing it for college. It's about him wanting to better the life for not just himself, but his family. And I want them to delve more into that. And I really hope part 2 really goes into a lot of that stuff. I think at the moment, it's very one-dimensional and it's generic for me to sort of glom onto and go, okay, because Robbie's got the captain's headband and there's a leaked photo around of Miguel wearing a captain's headband, that automatically means that Miguel's going to win. No, it doesn't mean that at all. There is a world out there where Miguel doesn't win the Sekai Taikai. I would like people to be sort of ready for that. But hey, there's also a world where he does win. And I think him going to college is such, like, obviously there's more to it than that. But I want them to really expand upon that. Why does he need it? You know, other than just it being life-changing in terms of college, what does it mean for him? You know, those little scenes and those little moments we've had across the show where, i.e., Daniel and Miguel in the car in season 4, that beautiful conversation about, you know, I didn't really know much about my father, but just stuff like that, those little minerals, the conversation he had with Johnny in season 2 in the burger diner, or in season 4 even, when, you know, he's like, you know, you're going to be my sensei, but, you know, I don't want things to change between us. You know, it's like, you know, you're like my dad, you know, moments like that. And if Robbie is to get injured and is to go down, it's going to show the difference, as has already been the case in Kyler and Miguel, with the guy that bullied him. Miguel stuck up for him. And how poetic would it be that Robbie goes down, Miguel steps in to avenge his newfound brother? There's something quite beautiful there. And I really do believe that there is still a case to be made for Miguel, regardless of how much, you know, people want a character to win it or whatnot. And do I think people are running with it started with Miguel, should end with Miguel kind of thing a bit too much? Yeah, because they're just kind of hearing what other people are saying, and they're saying it because other people said it. They're not formulating their own opinion. But I do really feel like, and this is feel, that we are missing something from Miguel, something strong, something, some really specific mineral that we had in season 1 and season 2, season 3, that I feel like we haven't had for the last couple of seasons. I can't really quite describe it, and I hope we get to see it in part 2. And, you know, having Miguel and Robbie on the same page now, as I've said a million times, it guarantees that we're winning. You know, it guarantees that we're winning. And I really wouldn't mind seeing some more scenes between Miguel and Johnny, a couple more wholesome scenes that we've seen throughout the show. Because, again, I know Cobra Kai is an ensemble show now, but in season 1, there was a huge emphasis on Miguel and Johnny, and I would like them to sort of revisit that a little bit. You know, don't lose that spark. You know, it's very easy, as the longer a show or a movie series or franchise goes along, the original intention can be lost. And I feel like that's part of the growing pains of Cobra Kai right now, especially for just, like, not you or me. We're going to be there if frickin' World War III was going on. I'm talking about the average viewer who views Cobra Kai in a different way than you and I do. Someone that's just going to watch it and give you their honest opinion and not going to care how much of a fan you are of it. The average consensus is that the show is on growing pains. And while I disagree, there is a conversation to be had about that as well. And I think that's because the show has gone on to such a point where you could make a case season 5 felt kind of finale-esque. It felt kind of ending-ish, you know. Obviously, there's still, like, plot threads and characters to wrap up. But I do want something very specific for Miguel, and I can't quite place it. But in those early 3 seasons, it was there, and I'm trying to figure out what it was. And I'm hoping we get to see that in part 2. The creators know what they're doing. I trust the big 3, and Shula Marajueña is, you know, as always, doing his best work with Miguel Diaz. And I think, you know, you'd be hard pressed to find anyone that dislikes Miguel. So guys and girls, jump in the comment section down below. Let me know if you agree with any of the points that I've raised. Let me know if anything I said made sense. And I will see you all in another video very, very, very soon. And also, Miguel against Kwon, we're going to get that fight regardless. So Robbie against Kwon, Miguel against Kwon, those fights are going to happen. Where and when? Anyone's guess. But they are definitely going to happen. It's not a case of if, just a case of when.